by Axel Eyesight. Is there the high drive? Deep center. Go, go, go. We're out of here. We're out of here. Say ya, playa.
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A gold pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
Saturday morning. Kickoff's going to be in just about 15 minutes. But Pennsauken coming off of 3 straight wins going into this contest. They lost in week 1 to Washington Township, but 3 straight versus Highland, Vineland, and Eastern. And we were paying close attention to that Pennsauken Eastern game because of one man, junior R.J. Blunt. He has rushed for 775 yards across 4 games this year with 11 touchdowns. But underneath that, last week versus Eastern, he rushed for 346 yards and 6 touchdowns in Pennsauken's 49-29 win over Eastern. I saw that stat live. Billy Snyder posted it on the Pennsauken Twitter page. I could not believe it. And we're going to see some fun action from him as he balls out tonight. Now, for Camden Eastside, on the bottom of your screen, they're 0-5. But I think that they are one of the most respectable 0-5 teams that I've seen in a long time. That's just because they're a young program, and if you think about it, this is their 6th game of the year, and it is their 5th contest in which they are playing an above 500 program. Their one that they didn't play was Lenape, and they're still a great program in their own right, and kind of, if you want to argue, hanging in the same boat as Camden Eastside. But they're a young team. Their quarterback is a freshman, their leading rusher is a sophomore, and their leading receiver is a junior. So they still have a lot of time to get those building blocks together. And I also think that Camden Eastside is held to a higher expectation because of the success of Camden High and the Panthers. You know, they run in the same school district, and I think that expectation of great athletic programs, you know, kind of gives Camden Eastside an unfair disadvantage because when they have a year where they're trying to rebuild and they're trying to get themselves back on their feet, you know, they kind of get knocked down because of the success of their counterparts over in the purple and gold. I think another issue, though, for Camden Eastside has been their lack of scoring this year. They have not cracked double digits in any of their 5 games this year. Now, there have been some close ones. They lost last week to Kingsway 16-8, and that's a 5-1 team in itself at Kingsway. Lenape was 29-7, RV was 42-6. Willingboro and Cedar Creek, their first 2 games of the year, were both 20-6, with the former being at the Battle of the Beach. So it's going to be fun to see if Camden Eastside can break through and not only score double digits for the first time this year, but also Pennsauken to see if they can hang on to this run and get themselves their 4th straight win. Now, we should preface this by saying this is a very exciting day for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, as we are celebrating our 3-year company anniversary today. 3 years ago on October 5th, 2021, we had our first ever broadcast of a high school interscholastic event. It was a boys soccer match between Gloucester and Audubon from the Green Wave turf. And it's incredible the progress that we've made in these 3 years. I remember it very well on a 99-degree day in July of 2023 that we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And at the commercial break, I got a little emotional because that was a lot of work that went into reaching that. Going from 0 to 100, and then 0 to 1,000 over the course of a year and a half. And now we're at almost 2,400 and counting. Instagram is already surpassing YouTube's followers, and Twitter's up over 2,000 as well. But it's not about the followers. It is about the viewers and the listeners. We had 385 people tune in to the Rancocas Valley and Gloucester Catholic game back in May in the quarterfinals of the Diamond Classic. And I remember it very well because Gloucester Catholic was trailing 5-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the bases were loaded for Gloucester Catholic against Rancocas Valley. Their sophomore pitcher was in, and I'm checking my phone to see, you know, what this is all about. And
it ended up being that, we ended up having almost 400 people tuning in. So, it is we'll be talking about, our history more as we celebrate 3 years of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, here tonight. But Pensauken's going to get ready to take the field. Don't forget, this is part one of a doubleheader. After this game, we travel over to Manchester Township down the shore for Rumson, Fairhaven, and Manchester at 6 o'clock tonight. So we are in for a long day of football, and we hope you're here for both parts of this Saturday ride. We will be right back after this. Pensauken is getting ready to take the field, and so is Camden Eastside. We'll be right back. Yeah. This cord is in the way. I don't know what this goes to, but I got to leave it in. Probably does. Yeah, so I can't mess with that, but it'll just drape over my shoulder a little bit. Ryan Nutley, who has 3 RBIs so far, is up on deck as here's a fly ball at the center field, going back to the wall. It is gone! 3-run home run, Steve Schaefer. He rockets one out, and it's 9-2.
first home run for Schaefer this year, the second hit at home by a Scarlet Raptor.
Well, this is one of the first high school football fields that I've ever seen to have billboards in our vicinity, but we are right near the Delaware River and the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge. Every time I go over to Philly and towards, my aunt and uncle over in Fox Chase, we pass by Pennsauken High School all the time. So it's always been something we've looked forward to covering Pennsauken and the Pennsauken Indians. Like we said, for Pennsauken this afternoon, coming into this one 3-1 and 3 straight wins early on in the campaign in September. They lost 28-7 to Washington Township, which is a very respectable program sitting at 5-1 this year, with their only loss coming to Millville. They beat Highland 25-0, Vineland 27-7, and the R.J. Blunt game 49-29 over Eastern. For the remainder of this season for Pennsauken, they are away at Shawnee, home to Cherry Hill West on Thursday, October 17th, and then away at Clearview on October 25th to close out the season. And this year, Pennsauken, that Washington Township game, has been the only team so far that Pennsauken has faced that has an above 500 record or better. Vineland is sitting at 3-3. And Camden Eastside right now at 0-5. They will face another 0-5 team in Clearview to close out the regular season on October 25th. But the last time that they played, Clearview beat Pennsauken 64-28. And these two do have prior history. September of 2022, Pennsauken took it 34-6 over Eastside. And we just heard it from our public address announcer here at Pennsauken. Pennsauken won the toss, and they will defer to the second half. But piggybacking off of what we just said, Camden Eastside took the last head-to-head matchup between these two last year in a 14-6 triple overtime victory. That was a game that Nazir Flack went 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 6 for 23. And for Pennsauken, you had Elijah Jennings, who had 11 rushes and 80 yards, including a touchdown of his own. But, I mean, that was a game that was just incredible from start to finish. I was hearing about it at the time, but we don't know if this game will go to triple overtime today. It would help if it didn't, because we do have a game later on tonight at Manchester Township. David Cohen is on board with us for both games on the production spot. And we've got a wonderful crew here with us at Pennsauken. Again, big thanks to the athletic director at Pennsauken High, William Snyder, for having us out here. And also Coach Farrell of Manchester Township for having us for our 6 o'clock game. That will be our first ever non-WJFL game. All DWB football we've done in the past 2 years have been all WJFL. So we're getting certainly well out of our comfort zone. And right on cue, Camden Eastside getting ready to take the field here. We are a couple minutes behind schedule. Kickoff was set for 12. And we are just now getting both teams on the field, with the exception of both captains. Here's Camden Eastside. And like I said in the pregame show, I think Camden Eastside is very comparable to Williamstown last year, where they're outmatched because of their competition, but not because of their play style, or how they play. But it certainly doesn't help that Camden Eastside has not cracked 10 points this season in a single game. There are not a lot of defensive gauntlets in South Jersey high school football. And Pennsauken showed that very well last week. They won 49-29. That was a high-scoring gauntlet. Sometimes the offense seems to be more prevalent in some years than the defense, and then there's other years where the defense seems to take over. But this year seems to be an offense-heavy year for most South Jersey programs, and we'll see if South Jersey and Pennsauken in particular can carry that energy tonight. They're carrying the red and teal flag. They wave the flag, and they are away. I really like that shot, what we were able to get there. As Pennsauken in the red and teal takes the field. And we were just talking about R.J. Blunt as well, the junior who rushed for 6 touchdowns in that win over Eastern last week. And we will go to a quick break as they will play a recording of the national anthem. There's the Pennsauken JROTC presenting our nation's colors. And speaking of colors, this should be a very colorful game tonight with Pennsauken Indians in their red jerseys and light blue numbers, white accents on the helmets, and Camden Eastside in their whiteout jerseys for the road jerseys and the black and orange tiger stripes on the side. I'm Dan Wilkins here with David Cohen in the booth tonight here from Pennsauken as we are getting underway about 8 minutes behind schedule, but beggars can't be choosers, right? So that's how we're going to roll here from Pennsauken. So as we celebrate 3 years of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, this game will take about 3 more years to start as the Indians and the Tigers will get ready to get going here in some big school football here in South Jersey. Bill Evans is on the sideline reporting on this one. We've got our photographers, we've got our media crew, and everybody's ready to go. As Eastside searches for their first win, and Pennsauken will search for their 4th in a row. Like we said, last time these two teams matched up, it went to triple overtime, with Camden Eastside taking a 14-6 win. Here we go. Kicked by number 28, Lucas Silvestri. It's taken in by Camden Eastside's number 2, and it will get stopped inside the 30. Darian Joyner on the return for the Tigers, and that's where Camden Eastside will take over. We were talking about Camden Eastside in the pregame, just the fact that they are probably the best 0-5 team that I've seen in a while. You know, they're a very impressive crew, but their matchup, you know, I would imagine it's kind of like Sam Houston State playing an SEC schedule. You know, they are very good for who they are, but they're kind of outmatched in their competition. And that's not a slight against them. They've just played some of the best teams in South Jersey week in and week out, and they still have to play Winslow and Camden as a part of their Colonial Division later this month. Here comes the pass to the right, to the left side. It is caught for about 8 yards. So Dymere Hill with the completion to Satchel, and that will bring up 2nd and short for Eastside. Second and short for Camden Eastside. From the shotgun, handoff up the middle. It looks good. We'll see where it ends up getting pushed, and it will be a first down for the Tigers. So their first down of the night comes in swift action as the rush, I believe that was by Joyner, ends up making a difference there. I apologize, that was Jair Davis on the carry for Camden Eastside. Empty backfield for Camden Eastside. They've got 5 wide receivers. And from the shotgun, this will be rolled out. The defensive line penetrating. He's back to the 30. We've got a flag on the play. And cutting out to the right side. He's actually going to get a handful of yards out of this. It is going to be an offensive hold. The pink flag did throw me off, but it is fitting for the month of October. But it is appropriate for the month of October. We've seen a couple of games this year where I got confused because a player that was on a team that had yellow colors wore yellow cleats. So they'd be on the field sometimes, and I'm like, oh, there'd be a flag on the play, but there wasn't. It was just the color of the player's cleats. We saw that with Clayton a lot, Collingswood, and a couple others on the tip of my tongue. But maybe with Manchester Township at 6 o'clock tonight, we'll see that as well with their blue and yellow scheme. It is 1st and 20 after the holding call on the offense. Here comes the handoff. That will get stopped at the line of scrimmage by the Indians defense, and for a loss of 2. That was stopped by Vincent Coleman, the senior linebacker. That's just his 2nd solo tackle of the year. But just about 2 minutes and a half elapsed in this first quarter. 2 goose eggs on the board between Camden Eastside and Pennsauken. Again, one man to the left, running a tripped formation. Dropping back from the pocket. It is incomplete, with some nice coverage on the Pennsauken defense by number 10, Josh Williams. So Williams breaks up that pass, and it was already 3rd and long. Or I apologize, it was already second and long. Now it becomes 3rd and very long as well. It's 3rd and 23. I mean, what do we have with Florence last night? 3rd and 35? That was the first ever 3rd down punt I had ever seen in high school football with what we saw with Pennsauken last night. I'm sorry, with Florence and Cinnaminson last night. So it's 3rd and a country mile. After a holding call and a loss on a first down rush, that pass is caught. So Satchel makes the catch, but that will be still well short of a first. And it looks like they're going to bring out the punt crew. So that will be how things wrap up on the first offensive drive for Camden Eastside. But that offensive hold on the first play of this set of downs just really set things in motion for Pennsauken. They've had some good defensive moments so far. This will be punted away by Joyner. Back to return for Pennsauken. I can't see that jersey number back there. I apologize. Jaden Polk back to return. 4th and long. This is going to be punted from Camden Eastside 20. The punt is blocked. And Pennsauken will pick it up and kneel at the 32. So a turn of events, and it's taken in by R.J. Blunt. So Pennsauken's junior R.J. Blunt will have his first moment, maybe his first moment of many tonight. I thought they were going to return it a little more, but they decided to take a conservative approach and just fall on the ball to 32. But Camden Eastside's punt goes awry, and Pennsauken's first offensive possession puts them in golden field position at the 32. Quarterback Nazir Negron, the sophomore in the shotgun, 126 career passing yards. He is 3 for 10 on his passing attempts this year. A rush out to the left for Blunt. He finds some room, and one play brings Pennsauken into the red zone. So a very impressive start. Pennsauken having, I wouldn't say a good drive handed to them, but certainly good field position falling into their lap, and then the offense can just take over from there. 7:45 and counting in the first. R.J. Blunt goes for 15 to bring them into the red zone at the 17. And Blunt has already had an incredible junior year so far, as this one goes over to the left side. That one does not get too far. It's 2nd down. He came into this game with 90 rushes, 775 yards. And if you break down the math, that is 8.6 yards per carry. And he has already had 11 touchdowns this year. He did not score in Pennsauken's 28-7 loss to Washington Township, but he scored 2 versus Highland, 3 versus Vineland, and a whopping 6 versus Eastern in that 49-29 win. I mean, just an incredible night for Pennsauken last week at Eastern as well. This is a fumbled snap. Goes out to the 25. He gets tripped up, and that'll be a big loss. So Negron was able to salvage the possession without a turnover. I mean, that was the issue there, was that, yes, they held on to the possession, which is always the most fundamental end goal, but just not the best situation there. As they were in the red zone, now they have to re-enter at the 26. And it will be 3rd and looks like 20 for Pennsauken. Don't forget, later tonight, we travel down to the Shore Conference for our first ever Shore Conference football game between Rumson Fairhaven and superstar quarterback Owen O'Toole and Manchester Township. in a crossover game in that conference over in that part of the state. Negron takes it from the shotgun. He rolls out to the left. His 11th pass attempt of the year is caught. And it is taken in by 21, Blaine Johnson, the sophomore. The first down marker is at the 7, so they still have some work to run with. We have a flag. Hold on here. With great offensive gains come great holding penalties. And it will be a hold on the offense. At least they didn't find the end zone, and that would have been much more of a gut punch to have a touchdown taken away. But this is going to set up 3rd and very long. Yeah, it looks like 3rd and 35-ish. Because the first down marker is at the 7. So they are a long ways out, but Negron, after his pass completion getting turned away, he's going to try it again. This time, cuts it to the left on a screen. Completes the pass to Jaden Polk. Still going to be well short, though. I'd like to see if they bring out Silvestri here. He's on the sideline with his kicking net, but I mean he's been hacking away at that all drive. But looks like they'll keep the offense on the field for 4th and about 25. I know a good buddy of ours, Chris Baker, was over at Camden Catholic and Haddon Heights. Camden Catholic's kicker made 2 field goals of 45 yards or more. And hold on here, we are going to have a timeout called by Pennsauken. So the Indians burn their first timeout with 4:30 left in quarter number 1. We have no score here from McEnany Field. So after Pennsauken calls a timeout with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first, they will continue to keep the offense on the field from the left hash at the 29. It's 4th and very long for Pennsauken. Negron drops back, finds a gap in the defensive line, but not a gap big enough. And whistles are finally coming in as we've got a host of shoves on the offensive and defensive lines, and that will be a turnover. So we've seen a punt and a turnover on downs, although, you know, I think it was one of those situations where it was wise for Pennsauken to keep the offense on the field. They've converted some big plays early, and they've converted some big plays throughout the season. But we'll see what Eastside has in store. They are backed up to their own 26-yard line. Not the worst field position. Could be better, could be worse. One of those things, and Eastside will have their second offensive drive of the night with still 2 scores. I'm sorry, no score between both teams. It's still early, folks, and we've still got 2 games of football to play. So we are going to be in for a long ride here on this Saturday. Dropping back, Eastside's quarterback incomplete. To the left side, Hill incomplete. That one was intended for number 15, Raheem Blackwell. I'll turn it up here. The problem is the snowball. So. 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Handoff to the right side, does not get too far. So a host of Pennsauken tacklers on that one. That's looks like a loss of 1, and it'll be 3rd and 11 from the 25. But just not a lot of ball advancement. Like I really thought, in the most optimistic way that you can, that Pennsauken was going to score on that drive because they blocked Eastside's punt, brought it up to the 30-ish, but then they just didn't get too far, and they actually ended the drive further back from where they started because of a couple of penalties. That's the unfortunate kind of, unglamorous part of high school football, is that sometimes you have drives like that start out incredibly well and then just stall out at the last moment and you can't find any momentum. That pass was complete to the right side to number 10, Amara Dole. And Eastside will once again bring out the punt crew. They want to get this one in the air. One of the things we saw about Florence and Cinnaminson last night, and something that doesn't really get talked a lot, was the punting. Both teams punted a lot, and we saw a great thing about line drive punting was that it allowed for Cinnaminson to return the ball. They didn't have a lot of fair catches. We saw a lot of punts and maybe only 3 or 4 at most. That's a heavy estimate of fair catches from last night's game in a 28-0 rout of Florence. This punt does not get blocked. It will get taken in at the 44. It is dropped and immediately hit. Now he breaks away. Jordan Polk will get tackled at the 45. So a host of circus acts on that punt return, but it ends up being Pennsauken ball at the 45. I can't remember what game it was this year that had the punt that got recovered. It was Clayton Haddon Township from earlier this year that had the special teams bonanza, as I like to call it. They recovered 3 onside kicks, and they recovered 2 punts for the offense. And that's what helped Haddon Township win that one 29-7. We have 3 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the first quarter. Negron in the shotgun for Pennsauken, handoff up the middle. I've noticed that Camden Eastside's defensive line is holding steady. There's a difference between somebody who rushes for 350 yards last week for 6 touchdowns. That obviously shows a big vulnerability in the entirety of the defense for Eastern. And now Camden Eastside's defense is holding their own. And yes, that was a gain for Pennsauken, but that was only a gain of, 2-3 yards at most? So, wasn't too shabby. And I think Camden Eastside's defense, deserves a little bit of credit here for holding Pennsauken scoreless so far in this first quarter. Negron, another handoff to Blunt. I was going to say, don't make a liar out of me, Camden, but another handful of yards there. But that's the thing. If Pennsauken can keep that offensive pace consistent, if you average like 4 yards per rush, you can get a first down every time, and you can, get your way into the end zone. It's not a glamorous way to get into the end zone, but that's what Collingswood did in week 0 in our August game versus Clayton. They did it in the fourth quarter where they got 5 minutes, 30 yards, and basically ended the game on their own accord. We've got a penalty. Let's see what the White Cap has to say about it. We are going to have a offensive false start. I was going to say, last night had a scoreless first quarter, and then what did Cinnaminson do? They exploded for 21 points. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Pennsauken, what do we say, the first quarter jitters. We've seen a handful of games that have been scoreless through one, and then most of the offense comes in the second quarter. That happened with Clayton Haddon Township a couple weeks ago, where both teams just couldn't get any momentum going, and then there was one big play at the end of the first quarter that set up the offense to eventually score at one of the first few plays of the second. A rush up the middle after the false start. R.J. Blunt finds his way to the 45. It'll bring up 4th and 2. And once again, they'll keep the offense on the field. I don't see a reason why they should take the offense off the field. They've shown that they can convert as long as the penalty doesn't hold them back. This should be enough for a first down. Pennsauken will convert there. And at the tail end of the first quarter, they now are well across the 50 into Eastside territory at the 43. And they might get one more play off before the end of the first. They've got 20 seconds and counting. Another rush up the middle. Blunt found some room, but again, running that power formation, just trying to get anything to stick. Not going to get it, though. And at the end of the first quarter, we will be scoreless between Camden Eastside and Pennsauken, as a couple of punts and a turnover on downs have made this game roll around pretty fast. And we are 25% home here in Pennsauken at McEnany Field. No score. We'll be right back. And it's 12:29 here from Pennsauken. We are through one, no score. A couple of out-of-town scores. Middle Township and Salem are scoreless after one. And Overbrook trails Clayton 20-14 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Clayton just found the end zone again for the lead. They had a great drive earlier in the game where in the second quarter they had a drive. So Clayton had a drive where they went 12 minutes and 14 seconds on a single drive because they spent the entire quarter with the ball plus the last 15 seconds of the first quarter. And they scored. Pennsauken does drive through for a first down. I apologize. This just came in. Salem just scored. They got the PAT, and it's 7-0. Middle Township failed on a field goal attempt. Blunt on the carry. That'll be second down for Pennsauken. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Harper Driving School. Over 95% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test through Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite E of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, right off of Lambs Road. And also, if you're a small business owner interested in advertising on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, you can send us an email with an advertising inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That email is also available in the description of our YouTube page. All commercials you see on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting are filmed on site by myself and our wonderful crew, and all funds go towards college expenses, equipment upgrades, and travel costs. I'm certainly going to need it for Manchester tonight. About an hour 15 both ways. Still no score here early in the second quarter, but Pennsauken on third and mid-range. We'll see where they spot this. Should be fourth and short. So Pennsauken looking to advance on 4th and short. They're going to try to barge their way through, and I don't know. First down markers at the 21. They might have to bring out the sticks for this. I'm not sure. They're still trying to sort this out. And it will be a Pennsauken first down. So they squeak their way for a first down. And they get to the 21-yard line, so they are on the edge of the red zone. So Pennsauken was already in the red zone once in the first quarter on that first offensive drive after they recovered a blocked punt. Running this one straight up the middle. I was going to say that was right out of the Wildcat and got about 9 there. And Pennsauken will burn another timeout. So, Actually, I'm not sure because one referee signaled it was an East Side timeout and the other signaled that it was a Pennsauken timeout. Yeah, we don't know who called that timeout. Because one referee signaled East Side timeout. Okay, so there we go. I was going to say one signaled one thing and one signaled the other. So East Side burns a timeout. Both teams have 2 remaining. No score, but Pennsauken is on the doorstep here with 8:58 left in the second. We'll be right back. Still no score as Eastside burns their first timeout. Another run out of the Wildcat. Snap got botched there, but they hang on to it. So Camden Eastside coming into this game 0-5. Once again, Blunt out of the Wildcat. 3 straight plays, and it'll be 4th down. As we said, Camden Eastside has a daunting schedule ahead. The good news is for Eastside is that this is their last road game of the year. They're at home to Winslow on the 12th at 11. Shawnee on the 19th at 12. Oh, that snap got fumbled again. Eastside wants it. Who's got it? And it is Eastside ball. It wouldn't have mattered anyway on the fumble because it was a turnover on downs. So whether it was a fumble recovery or not, it doesn't matter as Camden Eastside takes over. And once again, second time tonight, Pennsauken has touched the red zone, but they do not find the end zone. And by the way, if this game for the next 7 minutes and 56 seconds does not have a touchdown or any score, it will be the first time in DWB football history that we would have a scoreless first half. We came close a couple of times this year, like with Pennsgrove and Paulsboro, but nothing else other than that. So we'll see if this defensive gauntlet continues through the remainder of this second quarter. But as we said, Camden Eastside, Winslow, and Shawnee to close out the season. Winslow, the top-ranked public team in the state of New Jersey. The South Jersey representatives getting a lot of love. And then they play Camden in their annual Thanksgiving game at 10:30 a.m. Camden, another gauntlet. Camden and Winslow played last night. Winslow took care of business. And that's a series where Camden Eastside has won the last 4 matchups in a row, even dating back to when they were considered Woodrow Wilson still. 7:20 and counting left in the first as a 5-yard gain on their first play of the drive. Brings it second in mid-range. Dropping back again, immediately firing from the pocket, and that throw is headed into the east side sideline. So Damir Hill incomplete. I think it's important that they ended up, releasing the ball from the pocket quickly. We saw that a lot with Dylan McAndrews last night from Cinnaminson, where they didn't really have time to set up a play because it was already predetermined. You already knew where the ball was going to go to just off of the body language. And Camden Eastside now, after completion, they stopped the clock, which isn't all that imperative at this point in the game, but it's important that they advance the ball, which they haven't done much of tonight, as this is their third offensive drive and they're at risk of punting for the third time in a row. Dropping back, Hill hops back the shoulder, lets it fly, and it's incomplete. Double coverage intended for Montel Anderson. It's Cyrus Davis, one of the defensive backs, as that pass landed at the 50, but instead lands in the ground. So Davis and Coleman on the double coverage. I mean, that was great coverage there by Pennsauken. I think they knew that they were going to pass from the time that they, broke the huddle, and Pennsauken knew it well. Covered the man deep downfield. We hadn't seen like a home run ball from Camden Eastside so far, and now that message changes. And after a 5-yard gain on their first play of the drive, they will punt. Punter calls for it back at his own 5. This one is punted up in the air to the 40. Will land at the 41, land to the right, and Eastside will pick it up at the Pennsauken 41. I apologize. The Eastside 41 said they do not get it out of their own territory. I mean, that's the thing. Camden Eastside has punted 3 times. Once got blocked. The second went out to the 45. And the third now gives Pennsauken prime field position from the 42. I mean, if this was their first drive of the night, I'd say I would not be surprised if they scored. But we just haven't seen a lot of momentum. Both teams have kind of been canceling out one another. One person makes mistakes and then the other team makes mistakes. But you also have to ask yourself. Is it a matter of both defenses being good, or a matter of both offenses not having, the ability to break away for those long drives? What did we see last night with Bryce Prendergast? 91 yards, set up a huge touchdown. And then we saw Sadi Gant with a 40-yard reception for Cinnaminson. But all 4 of Cinnaminson's touchdowns last night were within 10 yards of the end zone. So they set up with big plays, but once they actually got into the end zone, they had a very short distance to travel. Snap had a little bit of confusion there. I think somebody was out of step there on that play there, because you could see, I think it was Blunt that was looking around, trying to figure out what was going on. Ball is spotted at the 42, so they are right back to where they started. Don't forget to stay tuned at 6 o'clock tonight as we take the hike over to Manchester Township and the Hawks' Nest for a matchup between the Rumson Fairhaven Bulldogs and the Manchester Township Hawks in Shore Conference crossover play. RFH in the A North Division and Manchester Township in the C South Division. Running to the right side, talk about that breakaway play. That is a first down and then some for Negron. QB draw executed perfectly. And if you're Pennsauken and if you're Coach Clinton Tabb, that is the kind of play that sets up the momentum and gets the team back into the the energy side of things, because you don't want a lethargic team running throughout the rest of the first half. As look out, Bill Evans on the sideline there. Shout out to Bill Evans and all of the South Jersey reporters who make this possible. He put himself in the line of fire there. I mean, we saw a chain crew member get leveled like he was getting hit by Ndamukong Suh last night from Cinnaminson. The chain crew, the reporters, the photographers, they are right in harm's way, but they got to have cat-like reflexes just like everybody else in the field. Under 5 minutes to play in the half. Snap from the shotgun again is bobbled. And it goes to the 25. And a lot of frustration from the coaches. And very, very adamant frustration from the Pennsauken coaches with headsets on. That's not the first time that Pennsauken has bobbled the snap. Even if they end up getting a couple of yards out of it, they're not running the plays cleanly. And that's something that they have to, work on at the half. It's just, it seems like the quarterback, Negron, has had trouble just keeping the ball in his hands. And not that it's caused any turnovers directly, but we got a stoppage here. Eastside making a very quick change before the play. Negron rolls out to the left side. Behind the line of scrimmage, he lets it fly. It is incomplete in the end zone. A little slow to get up, but he ends up taking care of it. Number 11, Elijah Thompson, breaks that one up in coverage. So Thompson breaks it up. It was intended for the receiver there. You can see he's holding his left side. That is Blaine Johnson, the 5'7" sophomore, the intended receiver. He'll stay on the field. He got up a little gingerly, and as he was running back to the line of scrimmage, you could see he had his hand over his left side, like towards his abdomen and ribs. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. Not anything to cause a stoppage of play, but the incompletion does set up 4th and 9 for Pennsauken. Dropping out to the right side, it is picked off. This one has a chance to get some room, and he will dart out at the 40. So on 4th down, Camden Eastside probably would have gotten that ball back anyway, but Montel Anderson picks up the pick. And believe it or not, that brings Camden Eastside across the 50 for the first time tonight. They have been inside their own territory for all but now. We've been playing for 21 minutes, and all 21 minutes have been spent either on defense or inside their own territory. So we'll see what they've got in the bag as Camden Eastside takes over at the 44. We've got 3 minutes and 42 seconds to play in the first half. Don't forget to stay tuned for the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting halftime show presented by Harper Driving School. Hill from the shotgun, empty backfield. He scans to his right over the middle. It's incomplete, and a acrobatic act by Amara Dole. Satchel was the intended receiver, and you could see Eastside was basically running over each other trying to pick up that play and trying to avoid any late contact. Second and 10. Here on the 44. Hill drops back, cuts out to the right. He gets hit, tugged at the jersey, and this will be a big loss for Camden Eastside. Cut it out to Montel Anderson. And Anderson, who made the pick to set up this drive, now brings Camden Eastside back to inside their own territory at the 47. And it will be 3rd and about 20. As a swing pass out to the right, seemed like it had good intentions, but, I mean, Camden Eastside's biggest play of the first half has been that interception by Montel Anderson. And now that kind of gets negated there as a loss of several yards on that swing pass, brings up 3rd and long for Nymere Hill. Play action. He is immediately swallowed up by the Pennsauken defense. That is number 79. So the punt team will come out for Camden Eastside. That was Cyrus Davis on the sack. And I saw number 79 on the sack, but I don't see him on the roster unless I read the number wrong. So I'm not sure, but either way, Cyrus, number 5 there, was on the sack for Pennsauken. But for the 4th time tonight, Camden Eastside will punt in the first half. We have 2 minutes and rolling in the first half. It is 4th and long from the 46. Polk back to return. This one is up. It will get across the 50, and it will land short of Polk, who will retreat back. And from the 33, it will be Pennsauken ball with 1:42 left in the first half. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy today with the most organic food products available in South Jersey. Along with that, toys, cages, accessories, and more. Visit 7 days a week at 226 South White Horse Pike in Auburn. You heard that right from the public address announcer. We had some folks tuning in the last couple of minutes, but if you are just joining us, haven't missed a whole lot. A lot of punting, a lot of turnovers, and a scoreless first half at this point. Blunt on the carry. And we started at 12:08. We've only had a 40-minute first half. I thought last night's first half was fast, with it being, I think last night's first half was 48 minutes, and that had 3 touchdowns. We are whizzing past this first game. 2nd and 7. Rolling over the middle. So about 2 yards on that one for R.J. Blount. 50 seconds and counting in the first half. But honestly, you know, it's been a mix of good defense and poor mistakes. You know, Pennsauken has to work on the ball control. You know, they would be able to get a lot more yards if they just didn't fumble the ball on 3 or 4 snaps. You know, they might have found the end zone if they, had better management. As that one is a big pass that ends up getting deflected. I saw a flag come in. Yeah, there was a flag at the quarterback. It's going to be roughing the passer. I thought I saw that. That's what I thought happened. I didn't want to say it because I'm not exactly. I mean, I'm not a rules expert by any means, so I try to keep my. Unless I absolutely know what's going to be called, you know, I try to not engage in those discussions too much. But that was definitely roughing the passer call that brings Pennsauken across the 50 again. They'll have 25 seconds to play. And now they're across the 50 after the 15-yard personal foul penalty. Brings them to the 48. With maybe a handful of plays left in the tank before the halftime break. Here from Alumni Day from Pennsauken High School and their wonderful turf here in Camden County. That one's cut out to the left side, or rather out to the right side. Whistles fly at the line of scrimmage. Both teams have both timeouts remaining, and one will be burned here by Pennsauken. So Pennsauken uses their second timeout of the first half. We'll take a quick break. We have 17 seconds to play. It is no score. "17 seconds left in the first half as we are scoreless. You know, last year's contest between these two teams was very similar, 14-6 with triple overtime. We'll see what happens as this one rolls out to the left, burns some more time off the clock. It's incomplete. Out to the left side, intended for Polk. And that burns a precious 9 seconds off the clock, as now we've got 8 seconds in the first half, that is. But as we said, I mean, I said it with 8 minutes left in the second quarter. I honestly didn't think that we'd be scoreless for this long. But knock on wood, we are having a lightning fast game for the Indians and Tigers. 3rd and 11 from the 49. As a home run ball out to the left side goes incomplete for the Indians, as Negron back in the shotgun again, man to his right. That handoff immediately gets botched, and unless they call a timeout, they do not call a timeout, and that will end the first half. And for the first time in DWB football history, we have gone 24 minutes without a score. It is 0-0 at the end of the first half. We've got a 15-minute break ahead of us. Stay tuned for the DWB halftime show presented by Harper Driving School and much more in this 3-year anniversary of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We continue right where we left off, no score. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
He's donning the number 34 and the shortstop for this one. First pitch. There's a line drive into center field. That one is going to drop, but it's going to go to the outfield wall. 1 run will score. Spence is going to make a huge arc around third. She will score to make it 3-0. And here comes the runner to score. It's an inside the park home run for Ella Hayes to make it a 4-0 game, a 3-run inside the Parker to the 2.
Excuse me, Goldberg is a shortstop tonight, but he had a 400 average in 2023 as a junior. A homer in each of his sophomore and junior campaigns, 331 career mark and a 430 career slugging percentage. And speaking of home runs, there's a fly ball to left, and it's gone! Devin Goldberg answers on opening day with a first pitch rocket to left, and it's 1-0 Bridgewater. We were just talking about the long ball, and he stomps on the plate, mobbed at home, and Goldberg, the leadoff man, with a swing of gold. It's 1-0.
BB and Copsetta trading a couple looks. They know what's going on. Full count. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons in the Ralph Shaw Classic 26th annual. They are back on top for the first
Doubleheader reached first on an error in the first at-bat of Game 2. This one's lined into center field. Slider going over. He dives. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Ryan Slider makes the catch. Not on a slide, but instead on a dive. 2 away. All right, we are here in the third quarter of Camden Eastside and Pennsauken, and it is the first football game in our DWB coverage to have a scoreless first half. I'm very surprised at how this game has gone, but I'm also not. You know, Pennsauken, they have been very offensively proactive, and Camden Eastside's defense has held up. But Pennsauken has made their own mistakes. They've had a lot of problems with ball control. They haven't fumbled any possessions away, but they have fumbled and bobbled and botched several snaps along the way. And even if it's an offensive recovery, those are still lost yards, those are still lost opportunities. And Camden Eastside has punted on all four of their drives. So it's a matter of Pennsauken's offense making their own mistakes and Pennsauken's defense holding up to pick up the pace and to offset. So that's where we are right now. Camden Eastside hasn't had the opportunity to advance on offense. They've only been across the 50 for one possession and about 3 plays before getting knocked back across the 50 again and punting from the 45. So Pennsauken, they've been in the red zone twice, haven't scored, and Camden Eastside has only been across the 50 once for about 2 minutes. So it's going to be fun. We've got Camden Eastside and Pennsauken second half football coming up right here on DWB. We are going to stay on the air, and we are going to bring that action right to you here from Vince McEnany Field in Pennsauken. It is just about 1:20 in the afternoon, and Camden Eastside will take this one away. Pennsauken, who won the toss just about an hour ago, deferred to the second half. So William Snyder, who's the athletic director for Pennsauken, we posted about us coming to Pennsauken today, took some pictures, and one of our good friends out of Pittman sent a message that said, "That grass looks gorgeous, but let me guess, the field is turf?" We'll hold that thought as that's a grounder of a punt that gets picked up at the 20. He finds some room, and will get tackled at the 41. So good field position for Pennsauken. But so the account Pittman Sports and Things commented on our post and said, "That grass looks gorgeous, but let me guess, the field is turf." And so Pennsauken's athletic page, run by Billy Snyder, he comments, "We do mow the turf often to keep it neat and clean." I've only met Billy Snyder once, but he has one of the best personalities in all of South Jersey athletic directors. That one's going to be a rush to the right, does not get too far. I was going to say up on that play was number 5, Aaron Figueroa. So it is 2nd and 10 after no gain on that first play of the third quarter. Sending some folks in motion. 2 men to the left. And that's going to be, wow! He gets stopped hard by number 56. And Camden Eastside picks up a big one there. Number 56, Elijah Crespo on the tackle there. And on 3rd and long, we'll see what they've got in store here as the offense returns from the huddle on their first offensive drive. Camden Eastside has punted on all 4 of their offensive drives to start. And Pennsauken has done a handful of punting as well. Actually, no, I apologize. No, they haven't punted at all, actually, now that I reconsider. But they have had a handful of turnover on downs on 4th and long. Running this one out of the Wildcat to the right side. And I apologize, that's Negron. Negron on the QB draw, that was. I don't think they got within 10 yards of a first. It will be 4th and long. And we'll see. Looks like they're going to bring out the special teams unit for the first time tonight. I mean, they've had a handful of possessions where they were at 4th and long, but they kept the offense on the field because it didn't make sense to punt from the 40 or the 30 of your, opposing sideline. So this will be a punt. And he's going to take it himself. He finds room. He's going to get a first down on a fake punt to the 35. Oh, Jaden Polk. 35 yards on a fake punt. And Pennsauken takes over. That was unbelievable.
The east side, 33-yard line.
As Pennsauken fooled everyone. And the ball went into nobody else's hands but Jaden Polk. And a 35-yard gain puts Pennsauken back for R.J. Blunt. We've got flags. He gets put in a spin cycle. We do have a flag. And it will be an offensive hold. Death taxes and great gains resulting in holding penalties. Brings us back. By the way, Clayton and Overbrook are 34-34 headed to the 3rd overtime. In Jersey high school football, it is 3 overtimes or it is a tie. They do not... Oh, hold on here. Movement on the defensive line. The hard count ends up working to perfection. And it will bring them back to 1st and 10. So penalties bringing them back to fruition here. But I honestly did not know that there's not unlimited overtimes like there is in college football. There was that famous game between LSU and Texas A&M that went to 7 overtimes a couple of years ago. I honestly don't remember when it was. I think it was before COVID. But I remember that game very well. It was a 74-72 final. But I think that was 2019 when that game happened. So the 3rd and final overtime going over in Overbrook. Eastern leads Trenton 7-0 midway through the first quarter. The Trenton Tornadoes.
4 yards. There's a 3rd down, 8 yards from the east side.
And actually, Eastern in the last 30 seconds just scored again. Hunter Davis scored for Eastern. It's 13-0. And at the half, in some crossover play between WJFL and the Shore Conference, the Keensburg Titans are tied with the Pemberton Hornets 7-7 at the half. Yeah, not a whole lot else going on. It's been a quiet Saturday. A 3rd down fumble. East Side recovers. And all that, I feel really bad for Pennsauken. That was a fake punt executed to perfection, and that drive stalled out as quickly as it started. A drive going so well for Pennsauken, probably the best drive to date yet for Pennsauken tonight, and it just did not work out. It is their 3rd fumble, or I apologize, their 3rd turnover. They've had 2 turnovers on downs, and now they lose a fumble recovery to Camden Eastside. They take this one over from the 30. This one is aired out over the middle. Pennsauken was the only one that had any chance on that. I can't even really say that there was an intended receiver because the only guy that was even close was Brahim Brown, the senior, for Pennsauken, number 6. The pass went off of his left hand, and now we go to 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. But 2 years ago, it was 34-6 in favor of Pennsauken, and then last year it was 14-6 in favor of East Side, and that was in overtime. triple overtime, I should say. But I think this is a case of whoever scores first is going to have the momentum to potentially win the game. We just have to see that breakthrough. We have to see somebody get into the end zone first. Blackwell gets stopped at the line of scrimmage. I mean, theoretically, this game can go the entire duration without anybody reaching the end zone. This game could end on a field goal, on a safety. We've seen our handful of unusual scores in South Jersey this year. I remember Bordentown and Burlington City. We weren't there for that, but the final score was 20-2 in favor of Bordentown earlier this year. But right now, sitting at 2 goose eggs on the scoreboard with 7:04 left in the third. 3rd and 8. As Eastside drops back, rolling out to the left. He's got Pennsauken all over him, a huge jersey tug, and he is taken down. So Hill will be taken down at the 39. I believe that is short by about 2 yards. And it is much shorter than I thought. It's going to be 4th and 3. So the special teams unit comes out for the Tigers. And for their 5th drive in a row, we have a punt. I wonder if they're going to take something out of Pensauken's playbook here, because something's got to, you know, what did Led Zeppelin say in 1971? When the levee breaks, something's got to give. Theoretically, nothing has to give. This game could theoretically end in a 0-0 tie if you wanted to get that crazy with it. We're going to have a false start on the punt. Yes, we will. We will have an offensive false start on the punt. Some heavy movement on the line there, and now that'll knock him back to 4th and 8 on this punt attempt.
Punting to this also going to be 4th and 8 from their 18-yard line.
Fourth down and 8 after the false start. Punt is off across the 50. It will land at the 46. And Eastside will let this one roll out at the 41. And Pennsauken will take over.
Indians take over for a first attacking around 2 yard lines. Remaining in the 3rd.
By the way, that Overbrook-Clayton game, the first play of triple overtime was a score by Overbrook. I'm sorry. Yes, Overbrook scored 25-yard touchdown, 42-34. Clayton has to score and get a 2-point conversion, so either Overbrook will win or the game will end in a tie. That one does not go too far for Blount.
Attacking hosting Tigers, led by 11, Elijah Hopkins.
It is a Saturday morning, so we should reflect on the scores of last night because we have a lot of fun scores that we were covering from last night. St. Augustine and Holy Spirit was a big one, with Holy Spirit getting the upset 14-10. But we'll start riffing off the out-of-town scores from last night after this play. Handoff up the middle. Blunt finds some space. It will be short, but it will bring up 3rd and short. Speaking of low-scoring gauntlets, Cherokee beat Shawnee last night 7-3. Hopewell Valley took care of Seneca on the road 35-12. Allentown shut out Northern Burlington 34-0, and Notre Dame took care of Highland 41-16. Cedar Creek and Oak Crest duked it out for a 25-27 victory for Cedar Creek. As here comes a pass to the right side. It is caught by Polk. Polk breaks free. He's to the 30. He gets tugged for about 5 yards. The shoulder blade pops out, or the back plate pops out, rather, and they will get near the red zone And Jaden Polk gets Pennsauken on the doorstep of the red zone again. And there you go. We were just talking about those, we were talking about in the second quarter, those plays that may not get you in the end zone, but they are big leaps and big steps en route to getting there. We were talking about with Cinnaminson last night. All 4 touchdowns weren't more than 10 yards out, but they had major plays very similar to that one with Jaden Polk that set up the touchdown. Blunt drives his head through, doesn't get too far, and the whistles will fly at the line of scrimmage. Second down. Palmyra last night beat Maple Shade 20-6. Timber Creek beat Willingboro in a back-and-forth matchup 24-20. Pittman shut out Lindenwold at home 54-0. And Collingswood took care of Sterling at home 20-6. And a huge win for Washington Township. They struggled early versus Lenape, but came back to win 35-26. Cumberland beat Bridgeton on the road 28-20. And Delran beat Heightstown with ease 44-7. Millville beat Delsea en route to another great season for the Thunderbolts, 23-7. And Glassboro stayed on their winning ways, taking care of Deptford 51-0. Deptford has lost 6 straight under Coach Pat Landis in 2024 as 2nd and 8 from the 19. Indians are officially in the red zone, and we've got flags at the line of scrimmage. Going to be a false start.
And you march them back 5 yards and bring them 2nd down, 13.
Absegami shut out ACIT last night 33-0. ACIT having a very impressive first season. We saw their 2nd franchise win versus Triton. They have now been shut out in the last 2 weeks. Atlantic City took care of the Vineland Fighting Clan 34-6, and Egg Harbor, last week's DWB feature game, beat Lower Cape May 33-3. In our feature game last night, Cinnaminson shut out Florence 28-0, and Burlington Township shut out Burlington City. I'm sorry, they took care of Burlington City 42-8. Here comes another breakthrough on 2nd and long after the false start. Blount again on the carry. That'll bring him to 3rd and about 6. Winslow, the top-ranked public school in South Jersey and almost in the entire state, beat Camden easily 40-6. Mainland beat the Battle of the Bay at Ocean City 14-0. And then, of course, that aforementioned Holy Spirit St. Augustine game 14-10 was the final. We're going to have offsides on the defense. So a false start on the offense and now a offsides call on the defense. Give Pennsauken an even better opportunity here. Kingsway beat Hamilton 29-3. Pennsville beat Penns Grove in the battle for the boot 19-12. Camden Catholic beat Haddon Heights 48-22. This one's going to be a huge carry. All right. I was going to say, I don't think that was a true tush push because I think the tush push is not a legal play in high school football in Jersey. That's at least what we were told last night. I remember David and I having a conversation, or it might have been Vince and I having a conversation about that. It does bring us to 1st and goal. They're at the 8-yard line, trying to barge through again. This one will still be short. Whistles finally going through.
Again, down to the 3-yard line.
And they are knocking on the door of the end zone. After a scoreless first half, we have almost had a scoreless third quarter in what has been a defensive gauntlet offset by Pensauken's minor mistakes that have set them back. They are now finally having a clean drive. They've got a chance to score on the 3. Blunt with the carry. He finds room. He's on his feet. They're going to blow the whistle here. It will be short by a hair. And some extracurriculars in the line there. We've got some shoving going on. Everybody's trying to sort this out and make sure that this game doesn't end up boiling over a little bit. That was number 26, Brashawn Long there. And I think the timeout's going to be called by Pennsauken as some extracurriculars after the play. I didn't see any flags come in, but just some shoving, some name calling, and maybe some extra there. A little pizzazz after the play. And it's 1:10 left in the third. A quick break. After a Pennsauken timeout, they are on the doorstep of the end zone. No score. So after a timeout, I apologize. It was Eastside that called a timeout. They burned their first of the half. Before this play, we'll wrap up some more out-of-town scores. Woodstown beat Pleasantville 24-12. Riverside beat Bishop Eustis 32-12. Steiner shut out Morristown 10-0. And Haddonfield beat West Deptford 30-28. That's their South Jersey football roundup from last night. And Pennsauken, they were denied on the first play, and after some pushing and shoving on the line, they're going to try to push this one through again, and everyone is in the end zone, including the Pennsauken in the ends. We finally are on the board. Wow. It only took 35 minutes of play, but we have our first touchdown of the night. And I think Blunt was the one that brought that one through. Blount, I think, was the one who had the carry. So Silvestri will be out to kick this one away. Negron will hold. And the PAT attempt, high snap, it is blocked. Don't think that would have, that was a low-hanging fruit. I don't think that would have cleared the crossbar anyway. But it is 6-0 Pennsauken as the defensive gauntlet and the battle of the goose eggs finally finds its first break. 6-0 Indians. We'll be right back. All right, well, as we look across the street at the billboard for the firing squad, how about Pennsauken firing in the end zone for the first time tonight? They get a 6-0 lead. The PAT failed. Low-hanging kick by Silvestri will land at the 10. It is touched by Eastside. Now they have to return it. He finds some room and immediately gets tackled. And some late hits there. So the return made by Darian Joyner had a little too much mustard on it, but he picked it up. I didn't see a flag. Oh, this will not help. So not only did they not start the drive with a good field position, they also now have a holding call tacked on. So we have just a hair under a minute to play. I don't know if they did half the distance or if they did a 10-yard. They'll bring it back to the 6. And by the way, from that Overbrook-Clayton game, Clayton did score and got the 2-point conversion. The game ends in a 42-42 tie after triple overtime. High snap, he's in his end zone. airs this one out, and it is incomplete. Intended for number 10, Amara Dole. So 51 seconds left in the third. You should note a handful of Thursday games were played as well this week. St. Joe's Hamilton beat Buna 47-19, and in the annual Woodbury Gateway rivalry, Woodbury again took care of business 35-6. So how about that, a 42-42 tie? Another handoff over the middle. This does not get too far. And some more late shoves going on. Don't forget to tune in later tonight at 6 o'clock as we go down the shore for a matchup between the Manchester Township Hawks and the Rumson Fairhaven Bulldogs. An undefeated Bulldogs team in 0-0 Tool squares off against Coach Farrell and the 4-1 Manchester Township Club in cross-division action in shore conference play. Third down and about 9. Buzzer runs out in the third. The pass, diving, and I think he got it. He did. At the end of the third quarter, that is the second interception by Camden Eastside. Williams picks it up, and the buzzer sounds. There's a, I didn't see the flag. It was at the 15. I apologize. I didn't catch that.
Well, hey, stop. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't know. Yeah. Yeah, because it ended with a ball in the air, so we're not even.
It is going to be a hold on Pennsauken, looks like. So a defensive hold. They're going to sort this out, and are they going to give him an untimed down, or we'll see what happens. So flag gets picked up at the 15. I assume so.
Depends on what time it's going to be first round.
All right, so because of that defensive hold, Camden Eastside will get an automatic first down at the 18. They now line this one up at their own 18, and we're going to have an untimed down at the end of the third quarter. Hill dropping back. That gets knocked away by Josh Williams. So he almost had an interception, but at least with no flags, that breakup will count. And at the end of the third quarter, after a little bit of confusion, Pennsauken finally breaks through, and it is 6-0. We'll be right back. Start of the fourth quarter here from Pennsauken High School and the very, very beautiful Vince McEnany Field. Big thanks to Athletic Director William Snyder for having us out here. So after what was an interception gets called back for defensive holding, Camden Eastside got a first down. Their first play, or they had an untimed down that was incomplete, broken up by Williams for Pennsauken. They lead 6-0 as a handoff to the right side, finds some space, and we'll get about 6 yards on the carry by number 8, Elijah Satchel. Third and 3 for Camden Eastside. And off of the middle, that's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage. And some more shoves. Things are getting a little bit chippy, but still keeping things in control. You don't want a Montclair Winslow situation from earlier this year. And it looks like Camden Eastside will bring out the punt team. Polk is back to receive and to return. So Camden Eastside has had 6 drives in tonight's game, and they have punted on all of them. And Pennsauken, the first time they attempted a punt, was not so. They faked it. And they got 35 yards out of it from Polk, but Jaden Polk, both the punter and the returner. This will land somewhere around the 45. Polk has it, no fair catch, and will dive forward at the 44. And he will return it for Pennsauken.
Pennsauken will take over for a anytime. You know. So I like to shoot college. Starting for first year. It's my first year of college. Been through big time about college basketball. So 4 years ago, the first. So we're doing a house shot. This like first class in
Pennsauken takes over on the opposing 45 after a brief return by Jaden Polk. Takes a snap, handoff to Blunt, is immediately going to get swallowed up by a host of orange and white at the line of scrimmage. Might even be a loss there. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, or Dog Wrestling, South Jersey's top professional wrestling organization with events throughout the state. As South Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization, Dog Wrestling hosts star-studded events and brings high-flying action to you. For more information on their upcoming events and how to buy tickets to their upcoming events, along with the wrestlers that make up this wonderful organization, you can visit their website at dogprowrestling.com for more information. That's DAWG prowrestling.com. Pennsauken with a loss of 2, looks like, and it's 3rd and long.
Maybe 15. He wasn't driving.
Empty backfield, Negron drops back, lets it air out. It is incomplete. We saw some folks getting kind of crossed up on that. It seemed like the ball just didn't have the trajectory that it wanted to. Number 18 for Camden Eastside, who was not on our roster, ended up getting a piece of that. He was the closest to the ball, closer than any Pennsauken receiver, and this brings up 4th down. And it appears that Polk is going into the backfield and we will have a punt. But do not be deceived. We've been fooled once. Wise man once said, fool me twice, or fool me once, blame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. This time, though, it is a legitimate punt. And it goes back to the 25. It will roll to the 20. And Eastside finally lets this one fall inside the 20. So 8:34 left in regulation, and we're setting up for an exciting finish if Camden Eastside can get on the board. But it is not going to be easy. I think Camden Eastside, they just haven't had any momentum, and that's not a slight against their team. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to their program, but they have played 5 games this year, and in none of them have they scored more than 8 points. And that was last week versus Kingsway. So, the offense just, whether every team that they play has a stellar defense or their offense just hasn't been proactive. Now, they haven't been shut out in any games this year, but this is the closest any game with Camden Eastside has been all season. So they are putting up a legitimate fight against Pennsauken here this afternoon. Dropping back. This one goes out to the right side. Some heavy coverage by Pennsauken, but it gets broken up. Intended for Thompson. Williams again on the coverage. I mean, for what has been a defensive gauntlet, it almost seems fair to give the player of the game to a defensive player like Josh Williams. But, I mean, once the stats go into NJ.com, maybe we'll hand it to RJ Blunt. I'm not sure. But, by the way, check out our Instagram at DW Broadcasting. We just uploaded the Player of the Week polls for the last 3 weeks. The winner of each poll will win a DWB gym bag that just came in. It's got our screen printed logo on it. It's a very nice addition, and it's a big gym bag. You can hold a lot of stuff in it. So make sure you vote so that our players can get their representation with DWB. That one cuts over to the left. It's incomplete. 3rd and 10, back-to-back incompletions for the Tigers. Now we got a flag. Got a hold. So this won't even be a 10-yard penalty. It'll just be half the distance.
Second down.
Pennsauken with a 3-1 record for the remainder of this season. They've got 3 games left in the regular campaign. Shawnee on the 10th, Cherry Hill West on the 17th, and Clearview on the 25th. As far as I could tell, this is the one day game that they have all year. I mean, they have a litany of lights around us, but we're playing under the lights of the sun here this afternoon. They are backed up deep into their own territory. This could be a safety if he doesn't get out. Is it a safety or is it going to be at the 1? It is not going to be a safety. This is 3rd and I don't even know how long this is. First down markers at the 27, so it will be 3rd and 25. That's my rough estimate. The one and only safety we've seen this year was in Camden's 30-0 win over Kingsway. Back on September the 6th, Kingsway scored a safety on a botched punt. The punt went straight out of the back of the end zone. And that ended up being what gave them the extra 2 points, hence 30 and not 28-0, because Camden scored 4 touchdowns in that game. I think they scored once in each quarter, if I recall correctly, but hold on here. Timeout will be called. Eastside burns their second timeout. So they are backed up into their own end zone. They are at their own 1. And they're going to have a chance to either get out or punt it away from the 20 after an 8-0 game. But we'll see what happens. Not going to get ahead of ourselves. We'll be right back.
favorites.
Back here in the fourth quarter, Eastside backed up to their own one. This broadcast is brought to you by Vincent's Lawn Care. Regardless of springtime, summertime, or fall time, it is never too early nor too late to get your lawn taken care of. Give Vincent a call at 609-413-0403. Handoff from the middle of the end zone will get them out of the safety net, if you will. Davis had the handoff for Eastside. That at least, if anything, gets them out of the end zone to no safety. And theoretically, and this is a big asterisk over this. You could also have a safety if this punt goes awry and goes out of the back of the end zone. I'm just saying that's very possible. By the way, at the half, Eastern leads Trenton 13-0. That punt was bobbled. Now it gets deflected. It's inside the 10-yard line, and Pennsauken takes advantage of a second blocked punt by Camden Eastside, and they are going to be on the doorstep of the end zone for the second time in this second half. After scoring on the jumbo formation by R.J. Blount, they have a chance to strike again. And for what could be our second straight game with a shutout here on DWB, because we saw Cinnaminson take care of Florence 28-zip last night. Let's see what's up here. We've got from about the 5, maybe even ahead of that. Pensauken's going to switch out somebody on, or get their 11th man on the field at the left guard. Let's see if they can push through into the end zone with R.J. Blount from the first play from scrimmage. He does it. Touchdown, Pennsauken. And they extend their lead midway through the fourth. And he does it with ease. And I think that basically solidifies his case for player of the game, because he has his second touchdown of the afternoon. He has contributed all 12 points on the scoreboard. And now Silvestri will be back out to attempt the PAT. His first attempt was a low-hanging shot anyway, but it was blocked. Snap is up. It is away, and it is good. 13-0 Pennsauken, as the Indians extend their lead over Camden Eastside with a second rushing touchdown by R.J. Blount, his 12th and 13th of the campaign. We'll be right back. We've got 6 minutes and 8 seconds left in the fourth. 13-0 in favor of Pennsauken right after this. With Pennsauken being in position to win, barring a major comeback, Camden Eastside would fall to 0-6 on the campaign. And this is after, in 2023, having a very nice 7-4 record. They were eliminated by forfeit in the first round of South Jersey Group 3 play to Highland. I believe that there was some story about, correct me if I'm wrong, but this might be some sort of, it was a illegal player of some sort. The final score before the overturn was 33-13 Camden Eastside. But that game got overturned and Highland won by default. That's going to be kick out of bounds. Didn't have much of a prayer on that one, and Camden Eastside will take over. But 7-4 in 2023, 5-5 after starting 0-3 in 2022. And in their last year as Woodrow Wilson, they made it to the South Jersey Regional Championship and lost in a thriller, 35-34 to Cedar Creek in a game where Woodrow Wilson scored 22 points in the first quarter and found a way to lose, excuse me. So after the kicking out of bounds call, they take it over from the 35, dropping back out of the pocket, lines a pass. Was that intercepted off of a tip? It's broken up. Okay. I thought he had it as well. It seemed like it was looking good on the chance, if you will. It was tipped down, and then it looked like it got trapped. But no cigar there. And by the way, with Camden Eastside losing last week to Kingsway, unless they add on a crossover game, they would basically clinch. And as sadistic as this sounds, this would be their first under 500 season since 2014, when they went 2-8, losing in all but one game of the regular season to Willingboro, and then in a consolation game to Pinelands. They won that game 30-8. But this will be the first time, like we said, Camden Eastside, in order for them to have a 500 season, they would have to win every game from here on out, including Thanksgiving, and add a couple crossover games to the schedule as well and win all of those. QB under pressure, that pass was out of bounds from the get-go. It was intended for Camden Eastside's number 1, Montel Anderson, but it falls short. And it is fourth down. Are they going to punt, or are they going to keep the offense on the field? I think where you are right now, you've punted in all 6 of your offensive drives. You've got to find a way to gamble a little bit. You know, maybe keep the offense on the field, go for the home run ball. If Pennsauken can have success with a lightning in a bottle, maybe you can too. And it'll be 4th and 10. And they will keep Eastside's offense on the field. Dropping back. Hill is in trouble. Finds a way out of it. He might get a first down right here. He will. He scampers out of bounds at the 50, and it will be a first down after an incredible scramble by Dymere Hill. It probably moves the chains. And with 5:41 left in the fourth, Camden Eastside has found that lightning in a bottle as they're going to try to advance the ball even further in what will be their make or break drive. I mean, I try not to be too cynical on these streams, but if they don't score here, I don't think they have much of a chance to come back. With how Pensauken's defense has been, this is the one drive where they found vulnerabilities in Pensauken's defense. So if they're going to exploit those, you might as well do it now. Hill drops back to the right side. He is well out of the pocket. The pink flag is flown. It is caught. A great catch by Elijah Satchel, but this might be for naught, and it will be an offensive hold. Yeah, that's... I feel bad for Eastside because they just made an amazing catch with Satchel, from Hill to Satchel. It looked really good, and then that holding call just turns everything on its head.
The best play. Yeah, the next pass, maybe I learned.
So 1st and 20. Crazier things have happened, but with every mistake that Camden Eastside makes, I mean, it's the epitome of one step forward, two steps back. They made a great completion, but it gets called back for holding. And there's not much that you can do there, but just they've run into the same issues over and over again. This is a home run ball. Satchel was the intended receiver, and there goes the Gatorade cooler.
Unfortunately, the ball and footer comes hit the ground.
I think that was purple Gatorade, if I'm not mistaken. Our cameras are showing it a little bit redder, but
Brings it on second down and 20.
I think that happened with yeah. I was gonna say the training staff is hard at work making sure that those Gatorade coolers are okay. You know, they don't have any helmets, they don't have any shoulder pads. They are basically defenseless on the sideline there. So I was gonna say it's over on the padding that the cheerleaders are standing on. The ice is everywhere, but the good news is only one Gatorade cooler was affected. It's not like Larry Fitzgerald in Arizona where he took out every Eagles cooler known to man. It's 2nd and 20. Finding a gap in the D-line. Lines a pass. Sliding. And I think Satchel caught it. I'm sorry, Montel Anderson. Oh no, did they get called again for another flag? It looks like it. Flag is back at the 30. Oh. See, that's why they should keep the flags yellow, to avoid confusion like that. Jair Davis, there was a flag, that, what looked like a flag that came down. It was just a towel. And Eastside now, they did not convert on that nice play by Anderson, but it does set up 3rd and short from the 44. Make or break time for the Tigers. Here comes a handoff to Jair Davis. It will be enough for an Eastside first down. This has been a good game so far. Much better than last night. These guys are hauling their way through this. You know, we started off really on a lull because we started 10 minutes late. We had no score for the first half, no score for all but 1 minute in the third quarter, and now things are ramping up here in the fourth quarter. They're condensing it all down to a short window. Falling away, catch is made by Amara Dole.
Yards, block, under 5 minutes in the fourth quarter.
We are now under 5 minutes in regulation. Camden Eastside needs a prayer. And it helps that that first PAT was blocked. You know, we had a game earlier this September with Haddonfield and Woodbury that ended 21-20 in favor of Haddonfield and did not go to overtime for the sole reason that there was a blocked PAT when Woodbury scored a go-ahead touchdown and made it 20-14. Haddonfield hit theirs and won the game because of it. So that 13 being a 13 instead of a 14 definitely makes a difference. Pennsauken looking to cover. Did not get anything on that. Sorry, our view from the end zone was a little bit obstructed there, but we hung on to it, and it is 3rd and 3.
Brings up 3rd down and 3 going.
There's no AC, so the windows are open.
And quite a few in your line over here.
Oh, we do have a player down for Eastside. Don't forget, later tonight, tune in to Rumson Fairhaven and Manchester Township in Shore Conference play. We'll be leaving probably straight from here to go down to the shore. It's about an hour 15 each way. So, should be fun. As we said, Camden Eastside, they're attending to a player at the 40. On Tuesday, October 8th, tune in for Tri-County Conference soccer action between the Delsea Crusaders and the Cumberland Colts from Cumberland County and Cumberland Regional High School. On Thursday, October 10th, we're back in the usual coverage area, and we'll be covering one of the most famous rivalries in South Jersey, Cherry Hill West and Cherry Hill East. For the first time in series history, the game will be held under the lights at Cherry Hill East. It has either been held at West at night, or it has been held at East during the day, because they did not have lights before this season. They just debuted them a couple of weeks ago versus Clearview in a 38-0 win for Cherry Hill East. Our next Friday Night Lights matchup will be Friday, October 11th, between the Shalleck Cougars and star quarterback Kenai Simmons and the Gloucester Lions. Gloucester looking to riff off a couple of wins after a rocky start to the season. And on Saturday, October 12th, we are back in Woodbury for our third of 4 games with the Thundering Herd between the Willingboro Chimeras and the Woodbury Thundering Herd, of course. You can check out our full DWB schedule on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at DW Broadcasting for Instagram and Twitter. Dan Wilkins Broadcasting is the handle for Facebook. Handoff to Thompson. Gets dropped short. That's going to be fourth down. I mean, I said make or break time right here, right now. A host of Pennsauken players were in on that one. If they don't score here, you only have 3 minutes, 44 seconds and counting. I don't think they can hold much of a candle if they do not score. And I'm not even talking about in this drive. They've got to score in like the next 3 or 4 plays, I think, because, you're going to onside kick. You have to do whatever you can to get back into this game and try to win. I mean, trust me, I've been friends with football players that have not had, teams that have gotten into the win column. I've had friends that have been on completely winless teams. It's not a good feeling. It's not a result of malpractice or a malfunction in the organization, but it's unfortunate because they're playing really good teams. He has been scrambling through a host of red and teal. He makes the catch, and that is going to be a first down conversion, and then some. Getting tripped up. Thompson somehow makes his way. I mean, that was a Mahomes-esque play right there where he shed off so many tacklers and was able to find his gap, find his receiver, and set up first down from the red zone. Wow, that was a great play right there. I mean, Demir Hill is about as agile as a quarterback as you get here in South Jersey. And we've seen him kind of in all aspects. We've seen him as a running quarterback. We've seen him as a pocket passer. This time he rolls out of the pocket to the right side. It is... couldn't tell. Incomplete. Okay, incomplete. Second and 10 from inside the red zone for Camden Eastside. .2:14 as the clock is stopped after the incompletion. Camden Eastside has 1 timeout remaining. Pennsauken is all 3. And Camden Eastside just had another player drop down. He is on the sideline, but not up enough to get off the field. I'm not sure what happened there. It seemed like he was up, and then the referee pointed, and he was down. It is relatively warm for an October day. It is 77 degrees and sunny. Some clouds are rolling in very slightly, but we didn't have any when this game started. I found it funny that we did you did the mandated public address announcement for inclement weather. I don't think we're having any inclement weather today. It is a beautiful Saturday for October football. And, I think about the fact that we've done our Thanksgiving games, and I'm very lucky that we're in a press box right now. The fact that...
Oh, 10.
Yeah, Amara Dola was down there for a brief moment, but... I mean, this is a beautiful day, a beautiful game from a beautiful facility here at Vince McEnany Field, which was dedicated in 2008. Vince McEnany was the head coach of Pennsauken football from 1970 to 1995. He won 244 games as a member of Pennsauken. 244 games in his career, 174 at Pennsauken High, 5 sectional championships, 14 conference championships, and 11 different Hall of Fames, or Halls of Fame, have inducted Mr. McEnany. We've got a flag from the white cap. He rolls it out, and it's out of play. And the referee points over saying that he stepped out of bounds before he got the pass off. That'll be a loss of about 5, but even more so because of a hold on the offense. So McEnany in 1984 won Kodak National High School Football Coach of the Year, along with the Coach of the Year honors for Courier Post and Brooks Irvine. And he also was honored with the Courier Post Football Team of the Century. And in 1986, he once again won New Jersey State Football Coach of the Year, Newark Star-Ledger #1 football team in New Jersey, and USA Today ranked them as the #7 football team in the nation. So a very deserving honor back in 2008 for Vince McEnany. And all that information is out on, there's a little rock with a nice little flower bed just before you get up to the steps of the press box here at Pennsauken at a beautiful complex. 2 minutes left as the ball is fumbled. He had trouble picking it up at least 2 or 3 times. Pennsauken wants it, and it will be 3rd down. So no recovery by the defense.
Loss was down,
So it'll be 3rd down and a country mile for Camden Eastside. As we said, if Camden Eastside loses today, they would clinch a under 500 season for the first time since 2014 in 10 years when they went 2-8. And Pennsauken, had a very good program last year. They would win their 4th straight going into their away game at Shawnee next week. And for Camden Eastside, they also play Shawnee later on in the season, on the 19th rather. Hill lets this one fly. It's incomplete. And we've got late flags coming in. I think this one's pass interference. It will be pass interference on the defense. Eastside saw it immediately. We saw it immediately. And this is presumptively going to be DPI. And it will be defensive pass interference. I thought I saw that coming. And that is Camden Eastside's best chance yet to score. But is it too little too late? You've got 1 minute and 3 seconds left. Yes, the first down, the automatic first down is nice from 3rd and 25. It certainly is a helper. But now the ball gets placed at the 16. And I honestly don't think the road is much easier. Oh, I apologize. We have not seen much more than like 2 or 3 defensive pass interference calls all year. And that was already when it was first down. So I apologize there. No automatic first downs in high school. Flag is going to be on the defense. It's going to be offsides. So, and that's good to know. I mean, we're going to see some high-flying action with Owen O'Toole tonight and Manchester and Rumson Fairhaven. Owen O'Toole last week for Rumson passed the 5,000 passing yard mark in his career. He is an uncommitted quarterback who also is a baseball player for Rumson Fairhaven in the short conference. So multi-sport athlete and 5,000 passing yards in in the short conference. It's incredible. And he's only done it for 3 varsity years. The senior did not play his freshman year. After the offsides, Hill has trouble. Hit as he throws. It is tipped and incomplete. So a tumultuous play from start to finish as Hill was hit in motion and in stride And we've said make or break time like a broken record tonight, but it is officially make or break time. 52 seconds left. If they don't score here, the first down marker is at the 4, so they can theoretically advance the ball for a first and goal, but the severity and the urgency of Eastside getting on the board to avoid their first shutout of the season would be imperative. Eastside finishes up their season with 2 regular season games at versus Winslow and Shawnee, and then they play host to Camden for the Thanksgiving special at 10:30 a.m. on the 28th of November. 4th and mid-range. First down marker is at the 4. Last chance potentially for Eastside. Spiral is caught, and it will waltz into the end zone for an Eastside touchdown. Montel Anderson at the 11th hour finds his way into the end zone, and finally the Tigers find themselves in the scorebook, and it is 13-6. I had a feeling they were going to break through at some point, and it felt like, I said it a couple minutes ago, this was the drive to do it. If there was any drive for Camden Eastside to find themselves ahead, this would be the drive to do it. They will go for 2, which I think is smart. Because the string of events that can happen, if you get 2 and then can get the onside kick, it's 13-8, and you'll have 45 seconds to burn and 1 timeout. Hill rolling out to the right side. He might take this one himself, and he will. It's into the end zone, and we have a 5-point game. And this game has been turned on its head more than I'd like to imagine. But you know what? So expecting the onside from Eastside, things are going to get a little dicey here with 45 seconds left. And I think these guys knew we had a 6 o'clock game tonight, so they went for 2, and now this game, barring any crazy voodoo magic, we won't go to overtime because it's a 5-point game, 13-8. But a very good game here from Pennsauken. Again, big thanks to William Snyder, the athletic director, for having us out here. Hopefully we can come back for Pennsauken Athletics sometime in the winter, or even if they have a playoff game or a crossover game. We'd love to be back. These guys are a passionate fan base, very respectful and classy fan base. So Eastside kind of deliberating things over on the sideline. With 45 seconds left. Camden Eastside, like we said, has not scored double digits in any of their games this year. They scored 6 apiece in their first 3 losses of the season to Cedar Creek, Willingboro, and RV, 7 to Lenape, and 8 to Kingsway. And that was in the third quarter on a pick-6 return. NJ.com does not say who returned that pick-6, but if you want to think about it this way, they have not had an offensive touchdown since the first quarter of September 21st with a Darian Joyner 47-yard touchdown to open up the scoring versus Lenape. Because in their 16-8 loss, their only score was a pick-6 and ended up being a pick-8 after all that. So with Camden Eastside maybe not looking at a playoff spot, but looking to keep their season pride in the balance with very tough matchups ahead with Winslow and Shawnee. Winslow, the top-ranked public school in South Jersey. So they're still working on getting the ball on the tee. So they switched some things up there. They had something up with their formation at first, but now things seem to be fixed. This will be sent away by number 52, Tristan Hamilton. Pennsauken falls on it, and that kick had a little too much mustard on it, and it looks like Pennsauken will win the game, barring a crazy collapse. I think you could feel the pressure relieving themselves, and a sigh of relief here in Pennsauken. Camden Eastside, I don't know how many times they've attempted an onside kick this year, but just seemed like it was a little too much and too many yards. Five and one. Pennsauken, after an opening week loss to Washington Township, which in themselves are 5-1, the Indians will improve to 5-1 with a win. They will kneel, and a timeout will be called, I think, by Camden Eastside. No timeout yet. They're going to let this one go. And Camden Eastside, despite the onside kick, does not get it done. Pennsauken wins this one 13-8. What a thrilling finish. It came down to the wire. Camden Eastside gave us some chills at the end. And a great finish here from Coach McEnany Field as the final score. 13-8. Pennsauken wins their 5th in a row. Like we said, they lost to Washington Township handily in week 1. And now, not only at home, but also on the road, Pennsauken has taken care of business. 5 straight wins for the Indians dating back to mid-September. And Camden Eastside falls to 0-6 going into their week 6 matchup versus Winslow. And they close out the regular season with Shawnee, and they play Camden on Thanksgiving. Well, how about that? Pennsauken got their job done. R.J. Blunt, 2 touchdowns. He's your DWB Player of the Game presented by Harper Driving School. And he was the driving force tonight, obviously. I mean, there was no doubt Pennsauken would not have won this game, and maybe they wouldn't have won last week versus Eastern if it weren't for the junior R.J. Blunt. Look, coming off of a game last week where he rushed for 350 yards and 6 touchdowns, there's not much that you can do to raise the bar. And the bar was already as high as you could make it. And he ended up, reaching those expectations. He was the X factor tonight, and Pennsauken walks away with their 5th straight win because of it. So we will pack up this equipment and head on over down the shore for our first ever DWB doubleheader for football, we should say, between Rumson, Fairhaven, and Manchester Township at 6 o'clock tonight. It's 2:30 here, so we should be in Manchester by 4. And we'll see you guys at 6 o'clock for our kickoff as we celebrate 3 years of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting here tonight in Pennsauken. The final score 13-8. Pennsauken takes care of it. 5 straight wins for the Indians from our entire crew here at DWB. Our social media coordinators, Brandon Kigerland and Keely Curran. Our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rail, Caleb Lane, and Nelson Reeves. My producer, David Cohen. I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you in just a couple of hours from down the Jersey Shore for the Hawks and the Bulldogs. Have a good one, folks. Pennsauken takes care of business for their 5th straight, 13-8.